What's up guys, Boy here. Today we're doing another video. Today we're taking a look at the US M81 pattern. Let's begin. Now let's get a little brief down to this one. Yes, this is actually not the first time you could probably know, from that type of pattern itself. It was actually introduced, or rather in 1948 through 1980 was introduced of the ERDL, which is the kind of that more proto M81 pattern. But through 19 it was actually been in service in 1981 through 2012. Now in 2006 it was the Mark SAW, or MRA SOC to be exact, was still in use today, so it's still in present. And yes, in other countries there's a full list of other countries using this particular pattern. But let's go talk about both the bottom and the top, shall we? Of course, the ERDL is rather more predominantly green, but in the M81 was more likely to be more having like the browns too. So the color on the pattern itself would be more of that blotchy approach, rather the most recognizable pattern. So when it comes to look at this, so by the colors itself, it would be dark green, light brown, dark brown, and then black, as in those are the only four that is on this camo pattern. Okay, for the one that I've got, this one is going to be a medium regular. So this one is from 2001 to be exact. Now this one is completely made of ripstop, having a bunch of buttons to snap onto the thing with these slit holes right here. Of course, you have four, two on the bottom and two located on the breast pockets. Of course, you also have is the adjustment buttons right here to adjust your wrist. A little bit of a padding in here. And that's about it. So let's get to talk about the pants. Oh yeah, I forgot on the back here is, yeah, there's also the little adjustment for kind of at the waist on the back. This is something I don't had in previous pieces I own or previous M81s I have. So that's another addition from my version I have. Okay, on the pants itself, onto the ankles, they will have these ankle straps right here. And let's get to talk about the... Now, on the front side, you do have a lot of pockets to it. So you got like normal pockets here, two normal pockets here, two areas for things like the buttons, two pockets, two more pockets on the both sides. But yeah, oh yeah, another thing about it here is that buttons with the slit here. Yeah, a lot of this stuff would have the buttons here. Have a little piece of fabric too. So there you go. And the one I have is medium regular. And of course, mine would be 2001. From 2001 to be exact. Again, this one's another made out of ripstop. Also have a belt loops for your belt. So that's another thing about it. So now let's get to the back side of it. Yep, they got the two big pockets right here on both of your sides. And now we got the entire cheek pockets, or rather the back pockets. They're all both on the both cheek sides. So now let's get to our test. So you could probably know this one's actually a pretty very decent camouflage you can get, and also pretty good at beginners. Now, let me just show you what they actually made a lot of this type of stuff, or rather, using that exact same camo and a lot of things. Let me show you the ones I actually own in my collection. Things like the field jacket, which the M65 field jacket, the Pasket helmet, the helmet cover, the knee pad, the mag pouch for it, the map cover, the MBC and sleeping bag carrier, the 2-quart canteen pouch, the sleeping bag bivvy from the modular sleep system, the load bearing vest, the load bearing vest, the FLC, and of course the Pasket vest. Okay, another thing that I also did pointing out in this one is the chemical suits. Things like the JSLST, and of course the mop gear that was from the 80s. You know, the one with the charcoal pieces, where it actually gets through everything. Yeah, no joke about it here. So, if you're all wondering, what happened? What happened to why we don't use this anymore? Well, there's a lot of reasons, and you could probably know for one thing. Well, first starters was the Marine Corps decided to say, hey, we wanted something a little different, having a different camo. Oh yeah, we just blend in the same. And biggest difference about it here is they would have like Marine Corps and the emblem there, but everything else would be the same, kind of defeating the purpose of, camouflage. And yeah, that's kind of what happened. So they decided to make their own camo, which is the Marpat, which, if you definitely know in the background right in here, from one of my more of that older videos I made, yeah, this is that Marpat pattern. And don't worry, I have both the woodland and the desert color. We also would be replacing it in desert time, or rather in the desert areas, with the DCU, which you could probably know. So a lot of other ones actually followed suit. Things like the Navy, with their rather infamous Blueberry NW Type 1. Navy SEALs, they used this for a while until they replaced it with the NW Type 2. And trust me, I want to get that pattern. But they do use this stuff too, so it's kind of, they still use it, some of the stuff. US Army gave us the infamous, yes, the infamous UCP pattern. And y'all know how bad that one is. Our second one is the Air Force, still uses this, but they replaced it with ABU, another UCP pattern lookalike. Also with the also not terrible, but pretty bad too. I know people are going to rip me to shreds, which the US Army and the Air Force later was replaced with the OCP and multicam. So you could probably know, yeah, it's now became obsolete and became one of the more well-known. If you mention about camouflage, you know you're going to get this guy here, which is a pretty good camouflage of all things. So I'm giving the M81, US M81 pattern an astounding of like a 9 out of 10 to be exact. From the entirety of the ERDL to what we got these days, it's actually a pretty good camouflage in my opinion. There's a lot of other camouflages, so yeah, don't worry. We'll get to more of these guys later on. So that wraps up the M81 woodland pattern. I'm Chillboy, and I'm signing out. I'll see you guys next time.